Pack, and he is a proud member of the Pratte Pack. He is none other than former police chief, state representative Dom Costa, who joins us from Metropolitan Window video screen. You can see this interview streamed live by going to kdkradio.com and clicking on KDK Watch. Sir, how are you? Great to have you back on KDKA. Good evening.
Great to be here, Rob. Good evening to you and your listeners. I'm happy to be on the show as always.
Listen, lots of things I want to talk to you about. Story in the Post-Gazette talking about because of funds being so low, it may be a very difficult task, whoever the mayor is in 2026, getting things right when it comes to our police department. When it comes to police everywhere, we should spare no expense, do everything we can to get them funded. So looking at it from afar, what do you do when you don't have money and the police department in the great city of Pittsburgh needs some money? How do you navigate those waters, Dom?
Well, you have to reevaluate what you have. You have to look at the resources you have, and we have to do things smarter. Doesn't mean more manpower is always the best solution, but we do need the manpower. You have to have boots on the ground out in the streets so you have that presence. But again, we're going to have to look at different ways of funding the police department, better ways of funding them, and allow them to do their work, their jobs.
Talk to me about the relationship you had, obviously, Bob O'Connor. How important is that relationship with the mayor and police chief?
It's so very important that the mayor and the police chief are on the same page. I was very, very fortunate with Bob being my mayor, because he gave me carte blanche to do what I needed to do and to keep the city safe. As Bob said, you're one of the team, but you know your job. I'm not going to try to tell you how to do your job. And things that we did and things that we were changing were always ran by him for his approval. But he was just a great guy to work with, very good friend, and that was the plus of it. He was my boss, but he was a good friend.
Listen,
and he allowed me experiment and do things that we needed to do.
We're both a little biased, obviously, because of our relationship with the O'Connor family. What do you think about when you look at young Corey? Do you see a little bit of his dad?
Oh, yeah, I see a lot of his dad with him. I remember when Bob would, come to different places where I was at, and Corey was just a little guy, and wasn't very interested like my son. But as they grew older, they grew wiser, and I think he's going to be an excellent mayor. I really do. I see a lot of the qualities that Bob had and in Corey, and I truly believe he's going to be a wonderful mayor.
All right, so let's talk about the big reason you're here tonight. I've been all over the Nippon U.S. Steel situation. President rolls into town. Everywhere I go, every story I look at, it keeps going back to this story. But the thing that I really believe is going to happen for the Mon Valley, with the billions that'll be pumped in there, Dom, you'll have tax resources, revenue, money, and that means you can pay a healthy wage and give all the benefits and bells and whistles to the men and women of those police departments from places like West Mifflin and Clairton and East Pittsburgh, to where people in Braddock and others will sleep a little bit better at night knowing they have a police force that is fully funded, and you got the rank and file there, walking the streets, driving the streets while you're going to bed at night, wondering if things are good in your neighborhood. That's one aspect of the story that I think we need to talk about, how this could be a great aspect as far as law enforcement in the Mon Valley when that money starts coming in, if and when this deal between Nippon and U.S. Steel gets done.
Rob, I'm glad you said that, because you have the foresight to see that. I thought myself, I said, this is a wonderful deal for the Mon Valley, number one, but it's also a great opportunity for law enforcement and the community out there to see and structure what they want in the future in their law enforcement. But now they have the money to spend. And I think there's a lot of programs like District Attorney Sapala has a camera program that they will be able to get into. District Attorney Sapala has done many things in that Mon Valley to try to improve the safety of the people through these cameras we're using, license plate readers, things like that, help solve crime. They are going to be able to basically have the cameras, use the cameras, and most importantly, have the people, the officers, to do the job.
You know, the other thing that I don't think people realize how men and women of police departments take this stuff personally when there's a shooting or some sort of crime takes place, somebody loses their life. Obviously, a family is turned upside down for generations to come. It hurts when something like that happens on your watch. You understand things happen, but it frustrates you when the criminals start outnumbering law enforcement, Dom, correct?
Oh, absolutely. What happens is criminals aren't as stupid as we think they are. They actually look for weaknesses in the communities. And with the communities with less law enforcement officers on the street, that's a good place for them to set up. They come into the city, but they usually don't do a lot of business. They sell here, they do things like that, but they don't set up their organizations here. Where in the smaller communities, they're more likely to set up their organizations because they don't have the resources, and now they will have the resources to combat that.
You know, I've done a lot of early morning shifts in my life, too numerous to mention, but I really am a night owl, and it goes back to being a kid growing up and my mother and I watching Johnny Carson. I love being up under a moon and being out and about. One of the things that has happened in our society post-pandemic, very few businesses are open 24 hours a day. A lot of folks have now started working remotely from home, but more importantly, populations have dwindled and gone away. But with this possibility of this deal and a three-shift mentality, and obviously when they're spending billions to refurbish everything, the building trades, there'll be thousands of workers there. When you have people on the streets morning, noon, and night, along with a fully funded police department, that puts a huge dent into crime, does it not?
It absolutely does. I mean, when you're out there and you have businesses open, you have people moving around. Because right now, if you look at it, a lot of the businesses are not going into those areas because there's nothing there. There's no business. But on the other hand, with the revitalization of that area, I think we're looking at a totally different aspect. And I do believe it's going to be a resurgence of the small communities that we lost back in the day.
All right, before I let you go, Dom Costa, former state representative and police chief of the city of Pittsburgh, you're out there consulting and teaching future members of law enforcement, current members of law enforcement. Don't you also think that once people start seeing the numbers increase in places like the Mon Valley, more money to spend, more opportunities, better pensions, that will be a great recruiting tool for future generations? Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, it's definitely a fair statement. I think if a young person sees that they have a possible career there and a long-term career, and they're basically going in and building again what was once there and make it great again. And that's all you can ask for. I think it's definitely going to help the recruiting, and I believe it's also going to help that people feel safe as they should.
All right, listen, I can't thank you enough. I know your time is always limited because you're a busy guy. I appreciate you carving out a little time for me. Have a great rest of your night, okay?
Rob, thank you very much, and you stay